welcome to our newest YA unboxing video. I'm Hana.
I'm Ashley.
Let's check out what we got new for YA books.
All right. I put this one on top because I just read it and it is awesome. It's called Into the Heartless Wood by Joanna Ruth Meyer. It is a dark fantasy and sort of a reimagining of the Little Mermaid story, except for really dark. If you don't mind a little gore, this is a good book to read. So, deep in a wood lives a witch queen and her three siren daughters. Isn't that interesting? They put the sirens in a wood instead of the sea. And for centuries, they have harvested souls to feed the heartless tree, using its power to grow their overreaching kingdom of ash, birch, and oak. Owen Merrick lives at the edge of the forest, mapping the stars for the king in his father's observatory. For years, he's resisted the call to venture into the garden, to venture over the garden wall and into the wood, until one day he meets the queen's youngest daughter, and their adventure begins. So check it out if you're interested in that one.
It sounds really good.
It is. It's awesome. I've been begging Hana to hurry up and listen to it so that we can talk and I don't give her spoilers, because I really want to discuss this book. There's so much to it.
Yes, and we definitely will discuss it in our What You're Reading program.
Yes.
So tune in for that. Okay. I'm going to hand you that one because I know you've been waiting for that.
Yes.
Just Our Luck by Julia Walton. Anxiety has Leo tangled up, but a twist of fate can change everything.
This sounds cute.
Leo is not a fighter. He knits, takes photographs, and follows his great-grandmother's rules for life as best he can. The first rule, bad luck follows lies. But his anxiety just caused a fight at school, and although he didn't lie, he wasn't exactly honest about how it all went down. Now Leo's father insists his son needs to man up, and he's sure a hardcore military self-defense class will do the trick. No, Dad. Enter Evie Peros, whose family supposedly cursed Leo's with bad luck. Evie is working at the gym when Leo arrives, desperate to take anything other than self-defense. Quick on her feet, she cuts him a deal. She'll secretly enroll him in hot yoga instead for a price. But what could the ruthless, forbidden Evie Peros want from Leo? Sharp as a needle, humorous, and compulsively readable, Just Our Luck is the story of a boy who, after a lifetime of bad luck, takes charge of his own destiny.
Oh, that sounds
really
awesome.
cute.
Very funny. I like that the main character's a boy, too.
I know.
And he doesn't have to be like a manly man boy.
Yeah, kind of nice for a change.
Okay, so my next one is We Free the Stars by Hafsa Faisal. And I'm so excited for this one. I've been waiting for it. It's the second one in the Sands of Arasawa series. And the first one is We Hunt the Flame. And I'm halfway through it right now, and I don't want to put it down. It's so good. I'm listening to it, so I don't want to put my phone down. But this is the second one in the series, and it's it's sort of an Arabian Nights kind of themed story. It's really interesting, and it's very layered. The world building is phenomenal, and you've got this desert kingdom that was thriving once centuries ago, and then the magic was taken away from the land, and now there's 4 different prefectures, and you've got the main character lives in a very snowy, icy region that used to be the desert, so it's kind of weird. And it's always snowing there, and she is a hunter, but she, she cross-dresses as a man because where she lives, they don't want women to be in any kind of power whatsoever because they think it's bad luck. And she has to dress as a man, so she's the hunter, but really she's the huntress. It's interesting. And then, of course, I think there's a little bit of a love story in here too. So you've got the prince, who is the Prince of Darkness, and he just kind of goes around killing people a lot. So it's another dark fantasy. And if you're interested in one of those and you're not averse to a little bit of gore, definitely grab this series. We Hunt the Flame is the first one, and then We Free the Stars is the second one. And it just came in.
Nice. Okay, the next one I've got is called Winterkeep by Kristen Kishore, a Graceling Realm novel. And I already read it. I'm going to talk about it and what you're reading. It was awesome. I really loved it. It's in this series, but I don't think you have to necessarily read the other ones first. They all stand alone, but I think they're probably better if you do read them. So if you've already read them, pick this one up. For the past 5 years, Bitterblue has reigned as Queen of Monsea, heroically rebuilding her nation after her father's horrific rule. After learning about the land of Torla in the east, she sends envoys to the closest nation there, Winterkeep, a place where telepathic foxes bond with humans and people fly across the sky in wondrous airships. But when the envoys never return, having drowned under suspicious circumstances, Bitterblue sets off for Winterkeep herself, along with her spy Hava and her trusted colleague Gideon. On the way, tragedy strikes again, a tragedy with devastating political and personal ramifications. Meanwhile, in Winterkeep, Lovísa Kavenda waits and watches, a fire inside her that's always hungry. The teenage daughter of two powerful politicians, she's the key to unlocking everything, but only if she's willing to transcend the person that she's been all her life.
Wow, that sounds awesome.
It's awesome.
Epic. Cool. And I love the cover, too. That's really pretty.
Yeah.
And I want a telepathic fox to bond with me.
I know. So the whole story, Lovísa's like, I don't trust those foxes. She doesn't want anyone reading her mind or anything, you know. But I thought the foxes were awesome. I was like, I want one.
Yeah, I want one. Okay. I have Wings of Ebony by JL. Very cool cover. And it's a signed first edition. Ooh. This kind of sounds like another Black Girl Magic fun one. I love those. They're just popping them out. Rue's family is her whole life. Rue! Her sister Tasha, moms, and the play aunts and cousins who live in East Row, the Houston neighborhood she calls home, are her world. But it is upended when the unthinkable happens. Moms is murdered, and Rue is snatched away by a father who abandoned her at birth. A father who now insists she follow him to his home, Gizan, a secret country of gods who wield a powerful magic. Whoa!
Where did that come from?
I know. In Gizan, Rue's existence is a crime. There's never been a half-god, half-human there, where leaders protect their magical powers at all costs and thrive on human suffering. Miserable and desperate to see her sister on the anniversary of her mother's death, Rue breaks Gizan's most sacred law. She returns to Houston only to discover black kids are being forced into crime and violence, and Tasha is in danger of falling sway to the very forces that claimed their mother's life. Whoa. That sounds great. Definitely has a little bit of, I'm picking up some Percy Jackson in there too, with the
it sounds
demigods
really good.
and everything. And how, I wonder what happened to the other demigods, because they say there's never been a demigod. I'm sure there has been.
Right?
I wonder where they
know
went.
There's more.
Yes.
And I wonder if she'll have her own powers. And
I wonder.
things. Okay, so
What
I've
powers?
got This Will Be Funny Someday by Katie Henry. When you fall down, stand up. A girl walks into a bar and then onto a stage and up to the mic. 16-year-old Izzy is used to not sleeping. 16-year-old Izzy is used to keeping her thoughts to herself in school, where her boyfriend does the talking for her, and at home, where it's impossible to compete with her siblings. When she accidentally walks into a stand-up comedy club and performs, the experience is surprisingly cathartic. After the show, she meets Mo, an aspiring comic who's everything that Izzy's not. Mo invites Izzy to join her group of friends and introduces her to the Chicago open mic scene. The only problem? Her new friends are college students, and Izzy tells them she's one too. Now, Izzy, the dutiful daughter and model student, is sneaking out to perform stand-up with her comedy friends, and she can hardly remember all the lies she's telling to keep her two lives apart. As her two parallel lives collide in the most hilarious of ways, Izzy must choose to either hide what she really wants and who she really is, or finally truly stand up for herself. Doesn't that sound awesome?
Awesome, yeah.
You don't see very many stand-up comedy stories.
Very cool. That's definitely one I want to read, especially on a bad day. I want to laugh.
Yes.
I'm sure her routines in there are hilarious. All right. This one is Coming Up for Air by Nicole B. Tyndall. Don't Let Love Pull You Under. It's a pretty cover. Ever since her mom's cancer scare, Hadley Butler hasn't been one for taking risks. She keeps her emotions guarded and plays things safe, focusing on her photography and getting into the art school of her dreams until Braden Roberts. Star of the swim team in all bravado and charm and impulsivity, Braden is exactly the kind of person Hadley avoids, but Braden really sees her, and it's intoxicating. Hadley's happier than she'll ever admit until her family is faced with devastating news and Braden starts down a self-destructive path that could shatter everything. No one knows what to do, especially Hadley. Because when you love someone, how do you find the strength to walk away?
Oh no.
Oh, wow. I get it now. Don't let it pull you under. Ooh, that sounds very deep, very emotional. Hopefully it has a happy ending.
Oh man.
I love
That
romances
sounds like a
that
tearjerker.
with a happy ending.
So next up we have a Spanish edition of George Takei's graphic novel, which was about his time in Japanese internment camp during World War II. I don't actually remember what the title is in English.
They Call Us Enemy.
They Call Us Enemy. Thank you. Nos llamaron enemigo. Sorry for my horrible Spanish. So anyway, if you read Spanish, we do have a few Spanish graphic novels that are in, and we do have the English version as well on the shelf already.
And that one is awesome.
It's a great story.
Yes. All right, I have Garden of Thorns and Light. Sound familiar?
A little bit.
Seen a lot of those titles. Shyla Adante is the author. Let's see. When Amethyst Faye was 6 years old, she was almost stolen by a monster in the woods on the same night her mother mysteriously disappeared. 10 years, a half a dozen psychiatrists and a slew of diagnoses haven't made things any better. She is still plagued by nightmares, ridiculed at school, and misunderstood by everyone from her teachers to her counselor and her father. And lately she's been sprouting thick green horns out of her skin. Oh, sorry, thorns. Horns, no, thorns. Thorns out of her skin. Woo.
That sounds pretty bad.
Yeah, man. When the paranoia doesn't end and the treatment options run out, she's faced with a choice between inpatient treatment or spending the summer with a grandmother she hasn't heard from in a decade. Well, it sounds like Grandma's going to have the answers. Summer at Grand's in Morgan Springs wins out just barely, and only because a backwater town sounds marginally more interesting than a mental institution. This girl's crazy. Amethyst draws the attention of Ben, the boy of her dreams, and Absinthe, the creature from her nightmares. Although neither of them is what she expected, Amethyst realizes both Ben and Absinthe are exactly what she needs to heal her heart and harness the fairy magic she's inherited. Woo! And unfortunately for Amethyst, trying to walk both paths could get her killed, but having to choose between them is far worse. That sounds great. I already want to root for Absinthe.
Yeah.
A fairy boy is so much better than a human boy.
I might agree with you there.
As long as he doesn't have like freaky horns or something like that.
Okay, I picked up Attack on Titan, number 32. So if you're waiting for the newest one, it's in.
Awesome.
And same deal with Lumberjanes, another graphic novel that's part of a series. It's not labeled what volume number or anything like that, but I know we have a bunch of them already.
Cool.
I think Lumberjanes is in, there's like multiple series because there's like a younger kids version and then there's the teen version.
I've read the younger kids version. I didn't know there was a teen version.
And I think
so
there's
that's
some
cool.
even that are not graphic novels. There's some that are just in juvenile fiction that are actual
cool.
books, like actual novels, I should say.
Definitely have to check that out. The one I read was great. It was all, you know, woman power and
girl power.
working together.
So this is Finding Balance by Katie Gardner. And I don't know if you can tell, there's a girl on crutches with one leg
Amputated.
there.
Yeah.
Jace Ellison doesn't remember having acute lymphocytic leukemia when he was 3. His cancer diagnosis only enters his mind twice a year, once at his yearly checkup and once when he attends camp chemo in the summer. No one in his real life knows about his past, especially his friends at Atlanta West Prep. Are they really your friends then?
I know, right?
Right? Why the secrets? Mary Manos has never been able to hide her cancer survivorship. She wakes up every morning, grabs her pink clip crutches, and starts her day. She loves Camp Chemo, where she's developed a healthy crush on her fellow camper, Jace. At camp, she knows she'll never get the look or have to explain her amputation to anyone. Jace wants to move on to never reveal his past, but when Mary transfers to his school, he knows that she could blow his cover. That's the last thing he wants, but he also can't ignore his attraction to her. Mary wants to be looked at like a girl, a person, and not just known for her disability. How do you move on from cancer when the world won't let you?
Oh, that sounds like another tissue box book.
It sounds great.
Yeah, it sounds like you're gonna cry throughout. I love that. Happily Ever Afters by Elise Bryant. This is cute. I was reading the cover, the jacket the other day, and it's cute. It's about a 16-year-old girl who loves to write romance. But you know, she kind of hides it from the world, and she only shares it with her best friend, which we've all been there, right? We don't know if it's good unless you actually have to take that plunge. Well, she's finally given that opportunity to take that plunge. She goes to a prestigious art school. She's excited to finally let her story shine, but when she goes to her first workshop, the words are gone. Writer's block. Fortunately, Caroline, her best friend, has a solution. Tessa just needs to find some inspiration in a real-life love story of her own. And she's ready with a list of romance novel-inspired steps to a happily ever after. Does that sound like a good idea?
It does for a book or a movie, but not for real life.
Nope. Nico, the brooding artist who looks like he walked out of one of Tessa's stories, is cast as the perfect Prince Charming. But as Tessa checks off each item on the list, she gets further away from herself. She risks losing everything she cares about, including the surprising bond she develops with sweet Sam, who lives across the street. She's on her way to having her own real-life love story, but is it the one she wants after all? This reminds me of a book I just read by Maureen Gu, but instead of the romance stories and everything, she's following the steps from K-dramas. It was really funny.
That sounds even more crazy.
So I bet some of this is going to be pretty funny, especially if she plans to fall into his arms in some way. And of course, in real life, it never works that way. All right.
All right. I've got Roman and Jewel. Whatever you do, don't fall in love by Dana L. Davis.
It's a neat cover.
Wherefore art... Wait, what? Jersey James, do not get her started on What Is It a Name, is up for the lead role in the hottest new show heading to Broadway, Roman and Jewel, a Romeo and Juliet inspired hip opera featuring a diverse cast and modern twists on the play. But her hopes are crushed when she learns that R&B megastar Cindy won the lead, and Jersey's cast as her understudy. Falling for male lead Zeppelin Reed is a terrible idea, especially once Jersey learns that Cindy wants him for herself. Star-crossed love always ends badly, but when a video of Jersey and Zepp practicing goes viral and the entire world weighs in on who should play Jewel, Jersey learns that while the price of fame is high, friendship, family, and love are priceless and worth risking it all.
Oh, that sounds great.
I think it sounds really good. I want to see this play in real life.
Yes, definitely.
Romeo and Juliet,
see that.
hip opera.
Roman and Jewel.
So.
Sounds awesome. And are the characters black? They kind of.
It looks like it.
Yeah. Very cool. All right, I grabbed a bunch for some reason.
That's all right.
All right. Last Night at the Telegraph Club by Melinda Lowe. Let's see. This one takes place in 1954. 17-year-old Lily Hugh, can't remember exactly when the question took root, but the answer was in full bloom the moment she and Kathleen Miller walked under the flashing neon sign of a lesbian bar called the Telegraph Club. America in 1954 is not a safe place for two girls to fall in love, especially not in Chinatown. Red Scare paranoia threatens everyone, including Chinese Americans like Lily. With deportation looming over her father, despite his hard-won citizenship, Lily and Kath risk everything to let their love see the light of day. That sounds great. A lot to unpack in that novel. So definitely one I wanna read eventually.
So that was 1954, and yes, of course, things are much, much better now. But here we are, 70 years later, and there's still discrimination and some of the same issues.
Yes. So definitely a good one to read, to open your mind.
Okay, there's a few left in here.
Yes. It's good to learn about the struggles that, have already been overcome in the past.
Do you have enough over there? Okay.
I think so. 1, 2, 3,
All
4.
right, so I picked up Chlorine Sky by Mahogany L. Brown, a story about heart and backbone, and one that only Mahogany could bring forth, says Jason Reynolds.
Mahogany Brown.
Yeah.
I like that name.
Oh, so you can see it's in verse.
Quick read.
Yes, basically much less text on each page, but those kind of books always get right to the point and right into like the emotional
They go
part of the matter.
into your heart. Yes.
Yeah. She looks me hard in my eyes and my knees lock into tree trunks. My eyes don't dance like my heartbeat racing. They stare straight back, hot daggers. I remember things will never be the same. I remember things. Doesn't really tell us what it's about, but I bet it's good. Go ahead.
Okay. I have The Scapegracers by Hana Abigail Clark. Party hard, hex harder.
Ooh.
Witches! Skulking near the bottom of West High's social pyramid, Sideways Pike. Awesome name. Lurks under the bleachers doing magic tricks for bottles of Coke. As a witch, lesbian, and lifelong outsider, she's had a hard time making friends. But when the three most popular girls pay her $40 to cast a spell at their Halloween party, Sideways gets swept into a new clique. The unholy trinity are dangerous angels, sugar-coated rattlesnakes, and now, unbelievably, Sideways' best friends. Together, the four bond to form a ferocious and powerful coven. They plan parties, cast curses on dude bros, try to find Sideways a girlfriend, and elude the fundamentalist witchfinders hell-bent on stealing their magic. Of course, there always has to be somebody hell-bent on stealing their magic. But for Sideways, the hardest part is the whole having friends thing. Who knew that balancing human interaction with supernatural peril could be so complicated? Rich with the urgency of feral youth. I like that. Scapegracers is an atmospheric, voice-driven novel of the occult that explores magic, growing up, and complex female friendship with all the rage of a teenage girl. Wow. You want a rager? Here it is.
Okay, I have The Meet Cute Project.
Another
a sweet
meet
and
cute.
honest rom-com that you don't want to miss by Rhiannon Richardson. Do you guys know what a meet cute is?
I remember the book. Is there something more?
I think it's a term that they use for, like in movies or books, when the two love interests meet for the first time.
Oh,
And
you're
so
meet cute.
in a movie or a book, you always expect it to be some kind of, cute moment, or, they've crashed into each other or whatever. It's not always like that in real life, but
No.
Mia's friends love rom-coms, but Mia hates them. They're silly, contrived, and not realistic. Besides, there's more important things to worry about, like how to handle living with her bridezilla sister, Sam, who's never appreciated Mia, and surviving junior year juggling every school club offered and acing all her classes. So when Mia's tasked with finding a date to her sister's wedding, her options are practically non-existent. Mia's friends, however, have an idea. It's a little crazy, it's a little out there, it's a lot inspired by movies that they love, that Mia begrudgingly watches too. Mia just needs a meet cute. So it sounds cute.
It does sound cute.
Can you imagine requiring your siblings to all bring a date? Oh, sorry,
No.
I don't care if you don't have a boyfriend. You go find one.
Right. So silly.
That
At
does
least
sound
she
like a
didn't say she was
bridezilla.
going to go hire one. I'll pay you.
Yes, we've seen that plot before.
Yes, we have. Okay, this one is Bedazzled. Sometimes a breakup is your chance to break out. This was in a webinar, wasn't it?
Yes,
that
we
watched?
heard about this story, and I think we were watching the author talk about his
Ryan LaSala.
experience writing and all that stuff, and he was really funny and cute. So I'm excited about this one.
Right. Raffi has a passion for bedazzling. Not just bedazzling, but sewing, stitching, draping, pattern making for creation. He's always chosen his art over everything and everyone else, and is determined to make his mark at this year's biggest cosplay competition. I love it, this cosplay. If he can wow there, it could lead to sponsorship, then art school, and finally earning real respect for his work. There's only one small problem. Raffi's ex-boyfriend, Luca, is his main competition. Points for Luca. I love Luca.
That's a good name.
Raffi tried to make it work with Luca. They almost made the perfect team last year after serendipitously meeting in the rhinestone aisle at the local craft store.
Meet cute.
At least. Raffi thought they did. But Luca's insecurities and Raffi's insistence on crafting perfection caused their relationship to crash and burn. Now Raffi is after the perfect comeback, one that Luca can't ruin. But when Raffi is forced to partner with Luca on his most ambitious build yet, he'll have to juggle unresolved feelings for the boy who broke his heart and his own intense self-doubt to get everything he's ever wanted, choosing his art his way. Oh, that sounds great. Come on, Raffi, just tell Luca, you know what? This is my time. This is my time. That's awesome. I can't wait to read that.
All right, I've got number 1 and number 2 of a new manga that we have in called How Do We Relationship?
No one knows.
Shy Miwa has always dreamed of finding love, but living in small-town Japan made finding the right match difficult. We hear you, sister. Especially since she likes girls. Even going away to college didn't seem to help until one day her outgoing classmate, Seiko, suggests they might as well start dating each other, since it's not like either of them has other options. At first, it seems like things won't work as their personalities clash and misunderstandings abound, but when their casual friendship starts to become more, Miwa begins to wonder, can a pragmatic proposal lead to true love?
Oh, that sounds so cute.
Okay, and number 2, not to give it away or anything, but it says they are definitely physically compatible, but a gathering of the band clubs for a weekend training retreat becomes an unexpected threat to their new relationship. Can their blossoming feelings survive each other's company?
And they're in a band.
I know.
Yay!
Sounds cute.
Yes. Okay. When You Look Like Us, Pamela and Harris. Sounds like this is going to be something very relevant to today. When you look like us, brown skin, brown eyes, black braids or fades, everyone else thinks you're trouble. No one takes a second look at a missing black girl from public housing because she must have brought whatever happened to her upon herself. I, Jay Murphy, can admit that for a minute I thought my sister Nicole got too caught up with her drug dealer boyfriend and his friends, but he's been gone too long. Nick, where are you? Oh, wow, that sounds great.
What a horrible feeling.
Yeah, so definitely something I want to read. I want to know what happens to Nicole. If I hadn't hung up on her that night, she would be home spending time with our grandma. If I was a better brother, she'd be finishing senior year instead of being another name on a missing persons list. It's time to step up, to do what the Newport News Police Department won't, bring her home. Oh, that sounds like it's going to be good.
I hope he succeeds.
I hope so too. There was something that we just listened to not too long ago, wasn't it? Sadie?
Yeah.
And that was...
Yeah, so in that case, they were white, but
Yeah.
they were poor. And that's another instance of something that is maybe not interesting to the news or whatever, you know?
Right.
So
She was just another missing
just
girl.
another missing girl. All right, so the last one I've got here is another graphic novel. And it looks really cute.
Oh, it does.
It's called Primates, The Fearless Science of Jane Goodall, Diane Fossey, and Birute Galdikas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, this is a Yelsa great graphic novel for teens.
Nice.
This is the true story of 3 scientists who risked their lives for research that forever changed the way we think about primates, including ourselves. So,
Cool.
yeah.
All right, and the last one, Thoughts and Prayers. We are still here, everywhere, all around you. We all pretend to be okay. We survive. No matter what, we stand beside every one of you. It sounded like popcorn. It sounded like chaos. It sounded like gunshots. 1 year later, Clara is hundreds of miles away from Ford High School, but even the most innocuous thing still sends her spiraling. How can she trust herself when everything seems like a threat, especially the troubled boy who may be one of her first new friends? Eleanor is still right there, and she is still furious. She never intended to become the face of a movement, and now that it is affecting every part of her life, can she stop it? Does she truly want to? Brezin can deal with going back to school if he thinks of it as a game campaign. It's a map full of obstacles and monsters, but he's a warrior. He knows how to defeat them, doesn't he? 3 teenagers who hid under a staircase. 3 teenagers who survived. 3 teenagers who the cameras and news vans have forgotten, rolling on to the next tragedy. 3 teenagers who are still here. Oh, that sounds great. They never really follow up with the the people who survived the school shooting like that, it just kind of, it just gets swept under the rug. Another tragedy eventually replaces it, which is crazy how many school shootings and
I know.
tragedies.
For a while there, I think COVID has actually slowed things down. So
Yeah.
one good thing about COVID, I guess. But for a while there, this amount of school shootings that were happening was so scary. And it makes me think of those teenagers from South Florida and that last one that happened a couple years ago.
Yes.
So
I loved how they spoke out, they didn't
Yeah. And
hide, and they said enough is enough. So.
and the cover title, rather, Thoughts and Prayers, is like, isn't that the typical thing that politicians will say? Oh, our
Yes,
thoughts and prayers are with you,
go
but we
out
need
to
you to do
families.
more than just have thoughts and prayers for
We
us.
need
So
action.
I feel
Exactly.
like this book sounds really good.
Yes, I definitely want to see how all three of them deal with it.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so
All right.
this is not even all of the new stuff
Nope.
that we got in January for teens. So if any of these sound good, place a hold. Come and see us in the libraries. We'd love to hear what you guys are reading.
Yes.
And we'll see you next month.
We want to talk books.
Yes, we do. All right, bye.
Bye-bye.